boy. Oh boy, here we go. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Yep. You know, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. I think there's three ways to look at the Lamar Jackson situation as the Ravens fall to the Patriots yesterday. I'll start with Lamar. There's three camps. That's what I've come up with here after thinking about it, listening to some different people. I feel like everybody's in one of three camps to simplify this. The first camp is you just believe Lamar, you love Lamar, his back hurts, he can't play, end of story. That's the first camp. That's an easy camp to be in. If you're in that camp, good for you. Second camp is the complete opposite. He doesn't try his hardest. He definitely could have played. He quit on the team. Easy conclusion to come to. If you're in that camp, I don't blame you for being in that camp. And then, like most things, most people are in the middle. And sometimes in the middle can have like seven different opinions depending on the topic. On this particular topic, I feel like in the middle, we're down to just everybody who isn't on the extreme that thinks he's quitting or that thinks, he can do no wrong. Of course he couldn't play. If you don't have one of those two opinions, I think and this is where I'm at, you just don't care anymore. Like you're just done with it. You're ready for a change. I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable of getting inside of his head. He has a back injury. I watched the play a million times. I watch football just like everybody else. Seen a million plays. That can't be the hardest somebody's ever been hit in the back before. It can't even be in the top 95% of hits that I see on a play-by-play basis. However, he still had a knee hit him somewhere, I guess, and his backer. I mean, what am I supposed to do? If anything, I'm going to lean towards the camp of he could have played. That's just, my gut feeling. But I feel like in the middle is, then let's just do something different because this just isn't fun. Football is supposed to be fun. It's not fun when my best player is like this. It's just, it just doesn't feel right. You want to go back to the contract year and the playoff game, and it's hard not to. It's hard not to look at the hamstring injury from 2 months ago, and it's just, man, I don't know what to say. And I'm not the oldest person in the world, but they did change the rules, in like 2010, 2011. So I think there's just less overall sympathy for the knick-knack injuries than, when you've been watching football for a long time. You're like, these guys used to get hit harder. There was a lot more that was allowed. And that you can't walk away from the way the optics of the hit looked, and then he's standing up, and back injuries are different. Depends. It's a fucking back injury. I mean, we're gonna sit here and discuss a back injury. Maybe you would say, well, if the Ravens defense didn't blow another fourth quarter lead, then we wouldn't be talking about the back injury. And I guess you're right. But unfortunately, the lead story is what the hell are we going to do next year? The second story is what happened last night. But we're at the point now where all options have to be on the table. The Ravens release through their social media, Hardball working out in the morning, as if I don't know what to say. I don't know if they're going to get rid of him. I don't know. And man, what an interesting situation the Ravens have found themselves in. And that to me is the lead story. It's got to be Lamar. It's got to be like, what the hell? Because even if we win the game yesterday, and I'll get to the game here in a second, if Lamar's not playing, it's the same thing as a few years ago, where they just have a 0% chance to win the Super Bowl. That's just the reality of the team, the makeup of the team. And so my thoughts on Lamar are, I don't know. And I'm at the point where I really don't care. And I can't believe I'm going to say it out loud, but if they want to trade him at the end of the year, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I would prefer to do something different. He's become extremely difficult to root for. That's how I feel about him. So anywho, as far as the game last night, can't get off the field. I think you got to start off by saying Drake May's really good. To pretend that guys are just wide open or the Ravens defense was as bad as it's been in other fourth quarter blown leads over the past handful of years, I think is unfair. I think last night was a little bit of a different situation in the sense that, man, the Patriots just made play after play. What's not new is that we can't get a fucking pass rush. Like, not having a pass rush, I mean, what is he? 31 for 44 last night for 380. And it's just insane, to throw the ball 44 times like that. And we're just nowhere near him. We're nowhere near him. Most of the time, he's comfortable. If he's not comfortable, all he had to do is step up a little bit or slide in the pocket, and he was right back to being super comfortable. And he's really good. Humphrey, not his best game. Made a great interception. You thought everything was going the Ravens' way early when the Patriots turned the ball over, but it's just, oh Lord, when they needed to make a play, it's just the theme of the hardball era here post Super Bowl is they just can't make the play on defense to get off the field. They showed the replay last night a handful of times. Our Darius Washington's just a half a step late. You feel like you win the game basically if he deflects that ball on fourth down. But it was third down after third down after third down. And then some fourth down plays where Drake May was just the best player on the field. And Diggs was open. Matt Collins was open. Henry was open. And then they couldn't stop the run to get off the field at the end of the game to give us another chance at it, which is just, what are you going to do? I mean, it's the same theme over and over again. So the Ravens got to make some changes, obviously, as if this season is going to be the biggest disappointment that you can really remember. I mean, since I guess the Bengals beat us the last game of the season, because losing in the playoffs is really disappointing. But when you look back on it, there's less shame in that. To not make it to the playoffs when they keep adding teams and to lose the games that they've lost, I don't know how you just run it back. They have a lot of decisions to make, starting with Lamar and his contract. And that's why Lamar's the leading story because, I mean, unless you want the leading story to be the Steelers and the fact that they win the game yesterday because it's one or the other. It's the depressing fact that we're not going to the playoffs unless a miracle happens, or the fact that we don't even know what we're doing next year at the quarterback and the coach position because this is just not working out. So really bad, really surprising. And my last 2 cents on it is, without getting into every single play and what exactly went wrong on the defense, there's a fundamental problem when it feels like you can't generate a pass rush against a really weak offensive line at home with everything on the line. It's got to be more than just the players. It's been like this for a couple of years, and they're going to have to do something different. So Drake may beat us. It is what it is. Ravens are screwed. We'll start with I may as well start with the 4 o'clock games and the Steeler game and then go backwards. And then, oh, what a fucking day. Jesus. The Steelers win. Just typical Steelers game. If you've been watching the Steelers for the past million years, they always win games like this. It feels like just the weirdest of things happen. And that's why the Ravens are basically done, because the Ravens have to beat the Packers next week in Green Bay, and they need the Clowns to beat the Steelers. And I just don't know what world that's happening. And then the Ravens would have a chance there in week 18. So Pittsburgh looks like they're headed to the playoffs. They basically, they're putting the Lions on ice here, as the Lions now only are competing with the Packers for the final spot. The playoffs really got uninteresting after yesterday because the Lions now basically led everybody in the playoffs. So the only thing up for grabs is the Packers can still catch the Bears for the division. The seeding's all up in the air. That's fine in the NFC, but the Lions now would have to win their last 2 games, and the Packers have to lose their last 2 games in order for them to make the playoffs. So chances of that happening are slim, as the Packers will play us and then the Vikings, and the Lions probably just won't win their next 2 games. So it just is what it is out in the NFC. Lions lose a game that I don't know if they have to reevaluate everything the way the Ravens do. They can chalk this up to a lot of injuries on defense. But, yeah, very disappointing season. Their window might have closed. We'll find out. I think they're good enough to try 1 or 2 more years with the core that they have, but tough loss for Lions. Texans beat the Raiders. Not impressive. They obviously don't cover. They barely win. But maybe that's better for them in the long run. Kind of humble themselves, as they've been on a tear. Everything's right in front of them. We'll see where they end up with their seeding, but they knock off the Raiders and the Cardinals. Cardinals flirted with screwing people around by beating the Falcons. I think more people had the Falcons than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals, I barely saw any of it, but they find a way to lose. Falcons win. It's irrelevant. The game that really, really just pisses me off. I don't bet the Jags, and they still screw me over because I take the under, and it looked great for the first quarter, and nobody can score. Kind of how I thought the thing was going to play out, and then the Broncos just had a really tough time with Jacksonville. I mean, the Jaguars look like the best team in the AFC. They're just absolutely rolling ever since they blew that fourth quarter lead against Davis Mills and the Texans. They just look like world beaters. So super impressive. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest, because I don't think either of those two teams are going to the AFC, to the Super Bowl to represent the AFC. After what I saw yesterday, I put it on the Patriots. To me, are the favorites. The Broncos, that's a loss where I don't know if they can recover from. That was like really bad. They might just be one and done, even if they get the 1 seed. I don't know. I really lost a lot of faith in them. The fact they couldn't come back, if they want to lose the game, that's one thing. But the fact they weren't competitive, that's a tough pill to swallow there for the Broncos. And Jaguars are just rolling. So that's that. At the 1 o'clock games, I do win the over bet, so that's nice with the Bills and the Browns. Not because of the second half, as the Bills just they hold on barely, drop the ball there in the end zone, want to put them up by 10 at the end of the game. So maybe but the Browns had multiple chances, but the Bills win. That's just been the difference between the Bills and certain teams, the Ravens, where they just actually win the game at the end, and so. Bills win. The game does go over. They don't cover. Outside shot looking in there at the division. So Buffalo's most likely going to go on the road for a few games. Maybe that's better for them. I'd have that a little less pressure as the stadiums close in. Having some home games might have, I don't know, added to all the pressure that they already have. So they'll go on the road for a few games. We'll see. They play the Eagles next week. I think that'll be interesting to see what that game looks like. The fake trap of the day was the Chargers and the Cowboys. The spread was making you think the Cowboys are going to win this game because why are they favored? They got nothing to play for. And, they had nothing to play for. It started acting like it as the Chargers' confidence game for Los Angeles there, getting the offense rolling. Chargers have an outside shot at the 1 seed or at least the 2 seed, depending on how things shape up with them and the Broncos. If not, they're going to be a pain in the ass to play in the playoffs. Chargers win, predictable. If you didn't look at the spread, I saw before the game. I was like, man, if the Chargers were favored by 2.5, I guess I probably would have taken the damn Chargers, but the spread made me think otherwise. So anyway, that one is clinches the playoff spot there for the Chargers, I believe. I think the Colts need to lose tonight. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, Chargers are going to get in the playoffs. Vikings, Giants. Vikings win. Ugly game, 16-13. Didn't feel great about the quarterback situation for either team, but you're most likely going to still run it back next year. So I don't know how much faith you're going to have in the Vikings or the Giants. Not a great game there. Titans destroy the Chiefs. That was probably the right pick. Take the Titans. Of course, I didn't do it. Chiefs are lacking some depth here, to say the least. My goodness, they just look terrible. And the Bengals destroy the Dolphins. I should have just taken the Bengals. I really wanted to. I thought about it, ended up not doing it. The Bengals, they were going to play much better in Miami. Dolphins are basically dead, and they played dead. So my, Bengals score a bunch of points. They destroy the Dolphins. Saints destroy the Jets. They were basically telling you to do that. 6.5 points seem ridiculous until you're like, yeah, the Jets are just ridiculous. Jets are terrible. Jets lose. And, the other game was the Panthers-Bucks. So I get that half right as the Panthers win. And now they control their own destiny, even though the Bucks can just win out and still win the division. So we'll see what happens. Bucks play the Dolphins. They got to win that game. And then they play again week 18 in Tampa. So Bucks are still oddly favored probably to win the division. Panthers beat them. Total doesn't go over, but the Panthers do beat them. So it's just been the Panthers all season. You don't really know what to do, except they like each other. They play well together. They are building something. So whether they get to the playoffs this year or not, I think you bring Bryce Young back and you just keep building around and see if everybody just gets better. Panthers win. Bucks are falling apart. Niners Colts tonight. I like the Colts. I like the Colts a lot. The game's indoors. I think Rivers will play good. The Niners, I can't wait to see how the Niners play tonight because the Niners aren't really getting much love as a potential Super Bowl contender. But maybe this is the best team they've had. Maybe they are better not being the favorite. Maybe they're better with Salah back and like a no-name defense. Purdy's been looking great. Now they play a desperate Colts team that nobody thinks is going to make the playoffs at this point. The Colts really should have won last week. They had the Niners. I'll definitely take the 5.5 points. I'll put out bets later today after I look at the props. Ooh, man! If you're betting tonight, good luck. If you won a lot yesterday, good for you. Yeah, I just don't know what to make of the Ravens besides the fact that we need a dramatic change. I'll be curious to hear the press conference today after Harbaugh collects his thoughts. He made it sound like yesterday Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry are in charge of substitutions, which is great. That like Derrick, if you listen to the press conference, you'd be like, so you're telling me when Derrick Henry comes out of the game, Keaton Mitchell is like, all right, I'm going in, and they just talk amongst themselves, and the coaches are like, all right, whoever goes out here, I'll just call the plays accordingly. It's just ridiculous. No feel for the game. I'm telling you, they make these decisions on Friday, Thursday and Friday. They decide the play calls and the situations, and then whatever happens during the game, they have an inability to change or react differently. And they just, they're doing every other possession with Henry and Mitchell, even though it was just clear that Henry is running hot. And you think of it like a shooter in basketball, it's no different than a running back. When you're in the zone, it's like when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. And it's 24-13 is the last time we saw Derrick Henry. So it'd be nice if Flowers could hold on to the ball. I'm kind of sick and tired of the fucking celebrating. Maybe hold on to the damn ball. And it's just something's wrong with him. He's always open, and yet he's always screwing up at the end of the game. So, oh man, just a myriad of problems there for the Ravens, and Harbaugh's worn everybody out. And so that's that. Orioles, though, made me look like a dumbass in the best possible way. I never thought they were going to pay Pete Alonso. I never thought they'd pay anybody until they got this whole whatchamacallit, new CBA thing worked out, but bargaining agreement, whatever. They certainly surprised me. I love the team. I love Shane Baz. I don't know what they're going to do here with Mountcastle/Mayo, except one of them is going to get traded. So I'll probably be happy with whoever they trade him for because it feels like Elias has done maybe I don't love the public comments throughout the year or the process, but I guess you're entitled to one really bad year if you're going to fix it this way. So I'm pretty much on board with everything that's happened. I think it's been great, and I'll try to forget what happened last year. I have no idea what the lineup's going to be. I've been spending probably too much of my free time coming up with random lineups, but yeah, it's a good problem to have. And the Ravens now have put me in full Orioles mode, unfortunately. So anyway, at least we get to play Saturday, so we can spend our Sunday rooting for the Clowns because who knows what's going on with the Packers. Although the Packers have to win that game, so I don't know. I'll be back Thursday what's Thursday? Christmas. We'll figure it out. Thursday or Friday, one of those days. We'll figure it out. But I'll put my bets out here tomorrow, or excuse me, later tonight. And good luck on whatever you're doing. Thanks again for listening. And have a good day. See ya.